Hello everyone, welcome to your final presentation. We're almost at the end, you guys. This week we're going to talk about making a presentation. Basically, you're going to take everything from the entire quarter so far and put it all together in a PowerPoint. This is a video on how to give a great presentation, so take a look at that. It just kind of runs through some details of what presentations why they work, things like that. So take a look at that. If you're not someone who uses or gives presentations a lot, sometimes they can be a little bit intimidating, but they really don't have to be. I know that fear of public speaking is a big deal. I myself am not the hugest fan. But you're in luck because you happen to have chosen the online class. And what that means is that you don't actually have to stand up in front of anyone and give this presentation. Instead, you're going to create a self-running PowerPoint where you narrate to your slides and then you submit that. So it's just the PowerPoint that runs through on its own with your voice. So that's what we're going to be doing this week. Like I said, take a look at this video on how to give good presentations. So what makes an effective presentation? Sans serif is a family of fonts. It's not a specific font, but it's a family of font. And this is what you should be using. It's easier to read, doesn't have a lot of flourishes, and is clear and can be seen from a distance and things like that. Make sure you're using one of those fonts, and those, if you don't know which ones are sans serif, pretty much all of your normal fonts work. Just be aware of what is clear to see from a distance. In addition to that, the font is large enough to read from the back of the room. That's really important. If you're going to print a PowerPoint presentation, which some professors may do, and make it into like a workbook or something like that, then you want to use dark text on a light background. But if you are doing a presentation like in front of a room, you want to have light text on a dark background. It's much easier to read. So for this presentation, your best bet would probably be light text on a dark background. Your slides should contain briefly stated points, not paragraphs and not complete sentences. You should not be reading your presentation. I should be able to look up and see, what it is that you might be talking about, but not really know what exactly you're going to say. The one exception to this would be if you wanted to put in a quote, a specific quote. But even those should be used sparingly. Especially because if you have too many words, your audience will start reading your PowerPoints and stop listening to you. And then if you don't have everything on there, things won't make sense. So that's kind of the basic reason as to why. Kind of a basic rule or guideline is each slide has no more than 6 points and no more than 6 words per point. Images are important, but they should complement the content. In other words, your pictures should match what you're talking about. It should make sense, and it should also help. Your design should be clean and uncluttered, sorry. And white space is okay. Don't be afraid, or not white space, but blank space is okay. Don't be afraid of that. If you have too much going on in any one slide, it can be a little bit distracting. Images, charts, and graphs should be clearly explained, labeled at the very least, and then you need to talk about what's on them. Often, just looking at a graph won't mean anything, so you need to explain what it is. And then animations. Animations are fun, and they're cool, and they're exciting, but they can also be distracting when they get too wild. If you're having students make a presentation, then yeah, they're going to play around with the fun ones, and that's fine. But for a more professional presentation, your animation should be a little bit tamer, and maybe not different ones throughout the entire presentation. You should keep consistent, because they can become distracting. So this is tips from Microsoft on how to create an effective presentation. So if you'd like a little more guidance, go ahead and take a look at that. The assignment this week is simple. You're just creating a 7-slide presentation. Slide 1 is going to have your title and name. Slide 2, why was this topic interesting to you? Why did you choose the topic you did? What drew you to it? Slide 3, examples from your research. What do your experts say? So go back to your personal learning network and look at your sources again. This is a good place to bring in maybe a professional quote, look at specific articles, things like that. What are they saying? What are they talking about? What are the issues surrounding your topic? Slide 4, where did your topic take you? This is going to be your mind map. Remember I had you save an image. When you insert that image into your PowerPoint, it's going to look a little funny. It might not have great resolution. That's fine. Don't worry about it because you're going to explain it. You're going to explain how you got from your specific one idea topic into all of these different branches. Slide 5 is going to have your survey data. Now this is not your charts. This is going to be like 75% of people said this, or 25% of people didn't think that it was good, etc. Some people like to include screenshots of their all of their survey responses. If you'd like to do that, that's fine. The biggest thing is making sure that this slide is readable, and however you want to do that is fine. But you also then need to expand upon what you have on it. Slide 6 is going to be your infographic about your topic. But I don't want you to insert the image, I want you to insert the slide. So I had you save it both as a PowerPoint and as an image. Here are directions on how to insert a slide from another presentation, so you can go ahead and do that. Also what this means is you picked a color scheme for your infographic, which means you're going to want to match your PowerPoint to that infographic so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So keep that in mind. And then slide 7 is what did you learn about your topic? What stood out to you? What conclusions did you come to? What are some applications of your topic? Things like that. So those are your 7 slides. Make sure that the content on them makes sense and it all flows. It's not that hard. Some required elements, text, background schemes make sense and are easy to find. My one request, don't do just a white background. We've already talked about how you should have a dark background and a lighter text. Avoid at all costs just a plain white background. When you're actually giving a good presentation, those don't look right. So don't do white backgrounds. My only rule. Select one single transition. Again, if you're using your points, have them come in one at a time on click. Rather than all in at once. Don't forget to add in pictures because those are helpful, and also do the same thing with your pictures that you do with your points, having them come in at appropriate times. Make sure the design is consistent and effective. No pixelated or distorted images. Again, your mind map might be, and that's okay. We already expect that. Make sure your spelling and grammar are good. Have someone check it. Why not? There's no shame in that. Citation for your clip art and images should be used, as well as the quotes you have on the, I think it's slide, on slide 3, examples from your research. You should have citations from that as well. Again, here are those reminders for what makes a good presentation. You're going to save this as a self-running PowerPoint. Again, what this means is that you're going to basically record you clicking through your PowerPoint as you're talking and narrating it, as if you were in front of the classroom. That's really, really important. So I want to stress that. You are actually narrating your PowerPoint and then submitting that. You'll be saving it as a PPSX, not a PPTX. Okay, so PPSX of self-running PowerPoint with your narration. Here's a link on how to do that if you don't already know how. Okay, also if you're not comfortable with PowerPoint, here are some resources to help you get a little more comfortable, although I'm sure I've all done it. Again, introduce yourself and your topic. You're narrating your slides, you're not reading your slides. This goes back to bullet points instead of actual sentences. Review the important points, and honestly this presentation is only 3 to 5 minutes. That's all it should be, that's all it needs to be. 7 slides is not that many. So when you're done, post it into this discussion board and then respond to at least one classmate. And I will do the same as well. Here's your rubric to keep as a checklist and just to figure out where you're at. We do not have a weekly reflection this week because this takes up a little more time, and after Thanksgiving week, I'm going to post the final reflection for the course. So also coming is the reflections or evaluations for this course. I'll send out an email with a link to those in them. Have fun with this week, and I will talk to you soon.